everybody, good evening and welcome to another episode of the X Show. Now tonight we got a couple of topics to discuss. Number one is Italy's death toll now surpasses that of China. Why is this happening? But we're also going to talk about Trump's attack on media in his press conference today. But first, before we go over any of those, I want to talk about the thing that we all care about the most out of anything else is, are we going to get our free money? Now let's talk about a leak that happened on Fox News today on exactly how we're going to be getting this $1,000. Now according to Fox, every single adult in the United States, regardless of citizenship, is going to get $1,000. And if your family has a child, you get an additional $500. Now for families of 4, you get to have $3,000 total, but that's when it stops. What if you have a family of 5, family of 6? Well, we don't know what you're gonna get, but I think the limit is gonna be for a family of 4 or above, you're gonna get $3,000 per family. So that's still a pretty good news. I'm used to getting free money, so I think it's something to be happy about. But the big question still is, are they actually gonna give it to us? I had a look at the whole proposal, and it looks like a lot of points aren't covered. And under restrictions where it says who should we give this money to based on income level, it just says, well, we're not going to give it to millionaires or billionaires. And that's it. There's no actual wording or specifications on exactly who's getting it and who is not. It just says adults and childs are eligible. So we'll see, in the coming days. Now let's talk about the big topic of the day. Why is Italy's death toll so large that it's now surpassing Chinese numbers? We'll have a very big guess as to why. In America, when we greet people, we usually shake hands. And in Japan, they're even better. They just bow. But for European countries like France and Italy, guess what they do? Mwah, mwah. One kiss on each cheek. Hypothetically, if one person has a coronavirus, you grease one person, kiss on the cheek, and that person might now have coronavirus particles on the saliva that's on their cheek right now. So if that person goes out and meet another person and they do that, mwah, mwah, that person is going to directly come in contact with the saliva that's on the person's face, which also contains the coronavirus. This may be the reason why it has spread so much in Italy, and I think it's going to spread as much in France right now, but Italy has been conducting far more tests for coronavirus, so their numbers and statistics are a little bit higher. So watch out guys, if you live in France, be very careful, just stay a little bit away, learn from the Japanese and just bow when you see other people. Oh, thank you. So yeah, everyone, avoid any physical contact, but especially if you can, don't kiss strangers. Now if your family members or your loved ones, you're probably going to get any viruses or sickness from them already, so go ahead and kiss them, but not anybody else, alright? Now is a very great time for all you players out there to be very faithful to your girlfriends and your wives. Now let's move on to the other topic, is that Trump is doing what he's always doing, blasting the media. But today when he's doing it, it's actually very much different than before. From what I see from the press conference, he might actually be losing it. He was a little bit resigned to the fact that media keeps bringing back what he said before this week. On Twitter, he keeps saying the virus is no big deal, it's less than the flu. Now Trump at this point is trying very hard to move past that. So today in the press conference, when somebody asked him a question, oh, President Trump, you did this thing before, but now this week you're saying something else. What's the difference there? What's the gap? He got pretty mad. He's like, oh, the news media, they're all fake. New York Times, yeah, we don't even have that in the White House anymore. I don't allow it to be distributed here. And then the Washington Post, now they're all liars, they're fake news. In fact, he called them corrupt news and very dishonest. He went so far as to say this country does not have any honest media at all. See, in that statement he included the Fox News, one of the few that actually supports him. He is now attacking everybody. Furthermore, not only is he saying these guys are dishonest, he's also saying these guys are on the side of China. And I had a look, there's no such occurrence as these newspapers actually supporting China directly. It just says Trump is doing a bad job. So I guess if you're working in the media and you don't support Trump, you are now automatically on the side of China. So guys, welcome to communism. But another thing that really surprised me out of this press conference is one reporter from a news network that has been kissing Trump's butt has asked this question, which I think is just absolutely asinine. Hey, is the term Chinese food racist? She was referring to Trump calling the virus the Chinese virus. And she's trying to draw a comparison by saying, if the Chinese virus, you're putting the label on the virus as Chinese is racist, then is putting the label of Chinese on the food racist as well. This is obviously trying to get Trump to look good by saying that, well, he's not being racist, look at these terms. So I would just like to ask this reporter real quick, where the hell did you get your reporter license from? And I have a guess, is it from Trump University? And did you also double major in how to kiss Trump's ass? But even though she is kissing Trump's butt, Trump is still blasting all the media, so I guess you gotta got all that yellow stain on your lips for nothing. Yeah, good luck with that. Next, I want to talk about a news that was announced. As we all know, the cruise industry and the airline industry are very impacted by this disease, and now they're failing to the point without any support from the government, they might actually tank and go bankrupt. In response to this problem, Trump has commissioned a couple of cruise ships from a cruise line by saying that we'll convert them into hospitals. So now they have a plan for these cruise ships to go to San Francisco and also to New York. And my question is, bro, did you not just see what happened to the Grand Princess? And did you not also see what happened with the Diamond Princess off the coast of Japan? On both of those occasions, one person, or at least a handful of people on that ship had coronavirus, and in just a couple of weeks, almost half the people on that ship were confirmed, and some of those people ended up dying. It's because a cruise line is an enclosed space. Not every single room has their own airline to the outside, so everyone's breathing the same air. And now you're telling me our president wants to convert these death traps into quarantine centers for already sick patients? Quarantine actually doesn't mean if you're sick, we're gonna put you in isolation. It means that if you're suspected of being sick, but actually hasn't been confirmed to be sick, we're gonna put you in an isolated space. It's different from the actual medical term of isolation, which means you're sick and we put you in a space by yourself. So some of these people are not gonna have coronavirus, and they're gonna walk on a cruise ship with other maybe confirmed passengers, and then they're probably all gonna spread it to each other. To be fair, they're probably gonna do some work on these cruise ships, but some of those cabins are inside with no access to the outside. Some of those cabins don't have windows. I know. I stayed in one of those cabins with no windows because I'm really cheap and I can't afford those awesome tickets with the balconies. So to convince somebody to be quarantined on a cruise ship, I think is about the same to them with sending them to a death sentence. So I don't know who's gonna agree to go on these cruise ships at all. Now let's talk about our next topic. Is that will Trump actually survive the coronavirus? Not actually as in if he's gonna be infected and he's gonna die, and maybe he deserved it, maybe he didn't, but life is precious, so really I'm not hoping anybody would die in this case. But will his presidency survive this? Will he actually be able to be re-elected into the next term? But the other big question we have to ask is that can his opponent actually take him down? And at this point, it looks very much like Biden is gonna be the Democratic nominee, the chosen one to take down Trump. And I personally don't think that he has it in him, because number one, he doesn't really have a unified message. I mean, last week he did cuss some poor construction guy out for his support of gun rights, but really, is that how you're going to be able to go into the presidency? And I know Trump has done the same thing. He has said curse words online in a press release, but you can't beat Trump at what he's best at. That's his job. That's what he's born to do. You can't beat him that way. And any other way, I just don't see how Biden can possibly take down Trump himself. All right, next topic of discussion. We're now on day 4 of the 15-day plan. But kids are still partying all over the United States because now it's spring break and there's nothing, especially no meany little virus that's gonna stop them from having a lot of fun. But earlier this morning on the press release, a doctor has actually said that if 10% of Americans don't follow these guidelines of the 15-day plan, the effect is actually detrimental. So are there 10% young people in the United States? Definitely. So right now what they're pretty much saying is that, yeah, we don't really have any way of beating this virus and the 15-day plan has pretty much failed. But hey, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait 15 days and see if it actually works. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up with a little light bit of a discussion, and is that now we Americans are all getting used to the quarantine life, and we have grown accustomed to the fact that we're probably going to be socially distancing ourselves for the next couple of weeks. And I know some people out there are like, well, I've been doing that all my life, what's the difference? Well, this is not for those people, okay? This is for the people that are not used to things being by themselves for an extended period of time. So, what are you going to do if you're staying at home by yourself or with a loved one and there's nothing else to do and you can't go outside? Here's a couple of ideas, but if you guys have any suggestions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. Number 1, you can binge shows on Netflix, Hulu, and all those streaming networks. So years and years of Netflix and all these networks compiling shows has finally paid off. Now everyone's forced to watch them. Now everyone has nothing better to do. So if you want to buy Netflix stock or Hulu stock, I think now is probably the time to do it, because I think as time goes on and more people lock themselves in their own rooms, that more people are going to be watching these streaming services. But if you're not into that, then you can also read a book. And to those of you guys who are saying, what's a book? Yeah, it's those leafy things with letters on them that tell you a very great story, and it's how people used to get their rocks off back in the day when they're bored. So yeah, do that. It's going to increase your brain capacity. It's a very good idea and very great pastime. You want to be smarter after this disease is over. So hey, let's make something positive out of this. Another suggestion that you can start your own blog, like what I'm doing here pretty much, chronicle your own struggle in this harsh days of quarantine and see what you can get out of it, right? Maybe you can be YouTube famous, and hey, isn't that the best thing of all? YouTube famous for our day and age. And finally, you can master a art, as in something that you always want to do, play an instrument, or being good at drawing, or anything like that, anything that you always wanted to do, but you couldn't have the time to do it because you have to go outside and interact with people. Well, now is the time to master them. Now you can just impress everybody at the end of this quarantine with your amazing, amazing newfound skills. How about that? Alright, that's about it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for watching the X Show. And as always, please be safe when you're going outside. And if you like our content, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for even more creative content coming your way almost every single day. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.